It's time for another Gateway to Geats. Hello, how are ya? I hope you're doing good. Hope you enjoyed this episode, and I hope you enjoyed this video. Because we've talked about the undercurrent of entertainment critique that's been present all throughout Geats. And to me, this episode, really hammers a lot of that home. Just so hard. In a couple different ways. It's really shown and explored. On one side, we have Michinaga, Buffa, who is completely floundering with no support network whatsoever, going against a public that does not care about him, while others are actively pushing him down farther, not necessarily irrelevancy, but in a sort of you don't belong here anymore. It is very much you are a weak link, let's attack you kind of way, while Michinaga's trying to do good, but is ultimately failing. But you can see some parallels with actual entertainment industry people of just no support. They are struggling against these kind of things, and there are people actively making their life harder. Meanwhile, Neon and Ace are just standing to the side, trying to keep the peace, trying to just keep their head on their shoulders, Only at the end of this episode, Ace takes on Keiwa's downfall only once it gets out of hand. He only he goes oh shit, Keiwa, fuck, things have gone downhill, Very much like a lot of celebrities who I wouldn't say they've got theirs and they're letting everybody flounder, but it's just more of you don't want to rock the boat. Geats, Neon and Ace are trying to deal with the whole situation and all this different kinds of stuff, and they're trying to keep up. They're having to keep a balance. It's a struggle for them, yes, but it's they have to keep 3 million plates spinning in a row, and one of those plates is starting to fall. They're trying to catch it in time. They just weren't able to see it yet. Meanwhile, just Daichi, Ned Sparrow, is going full cult of personality. He started a cult and is basically convincing people to come into his creepy ass warehouse to take advantage of them, to essentially kill them, get their memories, and do his whole plan. Honestly, it's giving a lot of it's giving cult leader vibes. It's Jared Leto. It's a dude. It's Jared Leto. It's Harvey Weinstein. It's people who will take advantage of their position, and because of that position, they can actively abuse more people. That kind of thing. And then we have my favorite segment of these past couple of videos. None of y'all fucking understand what the Keiwa's character is doing. Because, boy, this man is struggling. This man is absolutely struggling. And right now, it seems like the only one to have come to him is Keikera. His sister dies, he is in grieving, he is mourning, and the only person who's come is Keikera. And Keikera wants to actively abuse him, actively push him down further and further into a spiral. He attacks Michinaga, he takes Samuri captive, and he's going headlong into all of these danger, right? And we gotta admit this is a man with a very tenuous grasp on reality right now. He is a frayed nerve, and he is being pushed into a very, very bad position. Right? And we have seen people come back from these positions before. Neon was forgiven for ultimately being forced to betray everyone. Ace has been forgiven time and time again for tricking and putting everyone's lives in danger. And Michinaga has been forgiven for all the shit he's done, right? So, ultimately, we have Keiwa over here, whose worst act, fundamentally, at this point in time, is putting a person in danger A danger which she was actively able to get out of herself. She was, like, able to get out of that situation. She's still in, like, a dazed state right now, but she was like, no, I'm not turning into stone, fuck you. She was able to get herself out. I'm not saying Keiwa planned on that, but, like, she's not helpless. She's not a helpless fucking damsel in distress. She has the abilities to help herself. And being rude to her. Because the fight with Michinaga's like, yeah, no, I understand. I fucking killed your sister. It's fucking rough. Fucking take your anger out on me. I get it. And Ace stops Keiwa before he can kill off Ned Sparrow. Like, other than being a little bit mean, what exactly has he done? I know he's done more, and I'm being overly glib about this situation. But that's the thing. He is in a very, very dark place, and it's really hard to deal with it when basically you have people with power over you telling you fuck them, do what you want, and you have the power to do it. It is the worst impulses of Keiwa, and Kekera is actively pursuing that, right? And there's also another aspect that I just kind of need to mention real quick. Think about it like this. We see these episodes week by week. It hasn't even been probably 24 hours since Sarah died. Their clothes have barely changed. Time hasn't really moved on. Neon, like, Ace is still in the same clothing. Neon's changed, but she was off doing something else at a moment. It's been 24 hours. This man is grieving, rattled, has not ate, has not slept. He is in a very, very bad place. And then someone who is a friendly face comes in and says, hey, I know what can fix all of your problems. Here you go. Of course he's gonna fucking do that. Come on, like, it's a very sympathetic place for the character to be in, and I don't understand how people aren't having the sympathy. The same way you were supposed to have sympathy for Michinaga, but understand his actions were inherently flawed in his arc. It's like, yeah, we get it. You want to destroy the DGP, but you're killing people. It's fucked up, dude. And he was able to come back from that, and they were able to fix that. Keiwa's in the same place. Look, we get it. Your sister's dead, and you want to bring everybody back to life, but you don't need to do this. And he'll learn his lesson. You know? This episode was just great. I really did enjoy it. I really love it. I loved Keiwa's presence. The actor did amazing. He is big. He is very threatening. He is very direct with what he's wanting, and I love that kind of intentionality with the dialogue this episode. People were saying, I also saw some complaints of like, oh, it feels bland. It's like, no, it's direct. Like, they're not sugarcoating anything. They're not going like, desire. It's like, no, I want this. I'm gonna fucking kill you for it. Give it to me. Very plain, very blunt, you know. And a lot of interesting pieces are moved onto the board for the next episode. We got a brand new DGP. We got Keiwa kind of in the driver's seat for once. And yeah, I can't wait to see what happens next. But hey, if you want to see what happens next, please, as always, like, comment, and subscribe on this video to see like videos like this and many, many more. And hey, by the way, I also helped out a buddy recently. Go check out Buster's video on Dragon Ball. I edited part of the video, and I hope you enjoy it. Go check it out. Go check it out. Go check it out. And also, if you would like to see me in the social media hellscape that we're finding ourselves in, where Twitter is slowly but seemingly surely sinking, You can follow me on a variety of social media platforms at Boingo_robot. Boingo_writer at Twitter, TikTok, and Instagram. As of right now, I am finding names and places and figuring things out. I did sign up for Threads if you want to follow me there, though I don't know how the fuck you're gonna see that. What the fuck were you thinking, Zuckerberg? Not having an immediate follower feed. Why? Gross. Ew. Get that away from me. Ugh. So on and so forth. You can always follow me on Tumblr. But. It is time for the comments. First up from Slime Beast. I think it's interesting that, at least in the subs I watch, that Keiwa regards Samuri in the same way the staff do, and specifically does not refer to her by name. Speaking of Keiwa, that boy's gone downward spiral written all over him. Oh yeah, that super downward spiral. But there's an interesting thing with like only referring to Samuri as like, oh, the goddess. I wonder if that's less of him being an evil dickhead and ignoring her humanity, and it's more of him purposefully ignoring it to justify his actions. You know what I mean? Like, depersonalize her, so like his actions are more palatable, because like he's friends with her. Ultimately, he was friends with her. I don't think she should forgive him immediately. But like, as a way to like go like, she is not a person. She's not a person. She's a thing that I need to accomplish my goals. You know, kind of that depersonalization allows him to do some of these heinous acts, kidnapping her, condemning her to an action, to the life that she would be led down. You know, all that kind of stuff. It's an interesting thought. I don't think it is 100% what's going on, but I think it'd be an interesting interpretation of those actions, you know. Next up, we have from Blaze Chaos. I feel like the mess that is Daichi with Baroba and Kekara and DGP staff really helped each other's plans. No one went to check up on Keiwa thanks to shit, and at the same time, the Shimato infection still continues as Daichi marches on with his goal. So excited with the new forms granted by the Black Riser cards. Oh yeah, those forms were fucking great. But yeah, like I said earlier, this whole thing, 8, 12, 24 hours, this is what has felt like weeks to us has been hours to these characters. And Keiwa is grieving. He has not slept. He has not ate. He is now being gatekeep gaslight girl boss by a fucking frog. And I don't think anybody would be in their fucking right mind in a state like that. You know? Time is a harder thing to contextualize in mediums like this because it's like, yeah, it feels like it's been a while and it's been a very slow downward thing, but really this is just the dam breaking on a lot of stress on one man, and he's just not handling it, you know? It's an interesting thing, and I don't think we have been really like contextualizing as people watching the show. It's like, oh, it's still been a few hours, you know? And that's wild to me. Next up, from Fish Pop. Didn't know the special was out. The usual site didn't have it, but Billy did. Oh, good for you. Kind of neat how it framed like a late game Shinobi episode using Fuma and Kinzan. Was really neat. It reminded me there were other ninja. Also, ZX being in it, surprising, had me kind of giddy. Didn't expect him appearing. It's nice when Showa guys beside Ichigo get some spotlight and newer stuff. Amazon, Black RX were in Decade. The next time promo for an episode that won't happen in an Eugene. As for the Geats episode, Tycoon Shogun is pretty cool, and we get an untransformed fight with the new GM. Oh yeah, that fight was great. The Tycoon special was great. All around, just like fun content. And yeah, we just don't get these like feel good moments all the time in Geats, because it's been very tense from the outset, and it just gets more and more tense. Like, that's the thing. It's like Geats is less about like big bombastic action. It's just more of like, I hate to use this fucking analogy because of Kekera. We have been the frog in water and it's slowly starting to boil, and we're starting to see the water starting to spill out, so to speak, with Kewa, you know. Next up from Flame Ita, a random thought, not related to anything this week. I feel like so many characters have such gaps in their knowledge, and I'm starting to think it's on purpose. Most of the cast don't know the goddess is tortured. Even still, except both versions of the DGP staff, Ace and Ace's official group, no one knows about the fucked up tree. Neon likely doesn't know Ace and Kewa died. Michinaga has no reason to actually know Ace reincarnated. I worry for Kewa this coming week, but I worry for Samori more. It's like you said, every time she shows agency, reaching out only to be held back by Chimari early in Lamentation, her argument with Chimari in Assault on the Start of Longing, and even that she literally not allowed to fall in love because of Mitsume, it gets shit on, including this week. The only one she can argue with rather easily is Ace himself. I like that his question, "What's your wish?" is the same thing he asked the players. I've seen some discussion about who might be final boss, and a tired and broken Samuri might be fascinating. Oh, we'll talk about that in a second. I have a lot of hope for Geats because it's really fascinating, but better or worse, I love how you can almost never predict what's reveal will shake the balance next episode. It makes it so exciting to watch. And yes, you got my name right. Yes! You can't see it because I don't have arms right now, but I just fist pump. Yeah, no, I love how they don't know everything, but it's not miscommunication. It's not like they're saying something wrong and people are getting the wrong idea. It's literally like they weren't there for it, and people, and they just haven't had a second to just go like, all right, cool. So, what's everybody's deal? What's everybody's information? Like, they're not able to just get to that moment, especially in this episode, because it's, like I keep saying, it's been 8 to 12 hours, 24 hours since Sarah died. Ace has been busy dealing with all the fucking Yamato. No one's ever had a chance to fucking talk to anybody because everything is happening. Everything is happening all at fucking once, right? And it's just like a lot of two ships at night just missing each other. You know? Bigger things happen, and those details just get fucking sidelined because there's a bigger problem. And you know, you say like maybe Samori can be the big bad, but like after this episode where like they partially God changed her and now she's a little delirious, that I wouldn't say that could definitely be the direction they're taking, but that could definitely be part of the big thing, you know. And she could definitely knock some sense into Kewa. Like, there's a whole big thing that could happen. Because, like, here's the thing. Samori's a sister to Ace. So, maybe seeing that relationship would knock some sense into him. You know. And, like, you're right with the whole, like, we can't predict it. But, like, the best thing about it so far is once the big twist happens, it feels so natural. Like, oh, this person comes back. Oh, yeah, that totally makes sense. They did lead up to it. It's not a twist. It's foreshadowing. It's just, like, the foreshadowing is not, like, the foreshadowing is saying, like, oh, it's like this. And then you get there and it's like this, but also, like, a little bit worse. You know what I'm saying? It's great. Next up, from Toa Nui. So I'm more willing to see why why can't he have another goddamn, like, hard consonant there? I want there to be another hard consonant, but I just can't do that. Kewa is still mad at Buffa, considering that Buffa was still killing the victims after Sarah's death. Also, I don't remember if I brought this up last time, but it's a little funny to me that the last episode, Buffalo was boasting about not needing rider-based invincibility, and in this episode, a pissed-off tycoon kicks his ass. On that note, it's almost kind of cathartic to see Kewa give Buffa a beatdown considering all the hell Buffa put him through before the grand end, and I get the feeling that he didn't kill Michinaga with his finisher, but probably destroyed Buffa's core, or is going to steal it to use the spark for his wish. Another aspect of this KY episode I like is a little bit more implied. He peer pressured Samori to grant him power up instead of her just wishing it into existence for her own accord. So I'm more willing to accept her being the source of the power. Ultimately, this episode made me realize I'm just like Keikara, considering his response when KY implied he only cared about peace for his sister's sake. This is probably why I like him as a semi-villain, considering his behavior is similar to Hunter Zolomon, who is one of my favorite comic book villains and a favorite Reverse Flash, and why I keep bringing him up now that Keikara has shown his true colors. Finally, for this episode, I get the feeling that this arc may be setting up a potential downfall of Ace as Nij manages to get a better of him last episode, and now he might be putting too much faith into KY this episode. Although that being said, I have a feeling that this upswing for Ace might be using his creation powers to separate victims from stage 2 parasites. Mid-review edit. Wait, people were saying the episode was shit before it even aired. Here's the thing. I was seeing some people just complain about KY and just bad character direction and just some shit. I just had a little bit too much salt in my system. That's kind of it. Ignore the comment, unless it's like a genuine good criticism, which I don't think saying KY is a bad character now or KY is irredeemable now. It's like, no, come on. I think bad criticism should just be ignored, and I'm just a little too salty at that point. But yeah, no, that definitely bit Buffa in the butt. Though, I think it's kind of cool that really does show that he does trust the other writers now. Like, I don't need to beat them, I trust them, they aren't evil, and then KY happens. But he also understands why KY is doing what he's doing. Like, he is hurting, he is in pain. He sees himself in KY right now. He sees his past self, and he's like, you know what? If I can take on that anger, I'll do it for him. Which I think is really heroic of Michinage, And, hey, we, the audience who have been watching this go down, we're not Keikara. Like, here's the thing. We're not doing these actions to other people that we know. That's the big difference. Keikara is a person in the universe actively harming others, right? He is actively pushing KY to be vindictive and destructive and harming himself and being abusive in all these different ways. He's actively pushing these bad habits onto him and reveling in it. Ultimately, what Keikara as a character is supposed to do is to show us these actions and make us, the audience, reflect on how we treat other people in this regard of, do we push people to be worse versions for our own satisfaction? This happens all the time, and I think this should be, I wouldn't say a wake-up call, but it should be like, it's a teaching moment, And boy, we got a lot of downfall for Ace this episode, because, yeah, KY has the fucking power now, It's a lot of interesting things to think about, a lot of interesting things to wrap your teeth around. And finally, from Esconde, for the Shinobi special, as a fan of both KY and Shinobi, this special was a really fun time. I liked how dedicated they were to the bit of treating Shinobi like Shinobi was an ongoing series, with both the recap and the preview for the next episode. Even having Jin's actor be a Shinobi fan in the timeline where it's a full series. I can only guess in that timeline Geats was not the 2023 season. Love how they even played KY's character song as the outro music. For Geats 41, this feels like something we've been waiting for so long. Finally, we get the KY focus in his final form, and I'm happy we're here. I remember during the review for Heaven and Hell game, I commented that I hope someone would knock Michinage down a peg later. I was not expecting our boy to be the one to do it. Seeing the form in action was awesome. It's impressive that for a suit made by mostly reused parts, Tycoon's Twin Command helmet and chest armor, Shinobi's arm guards, and Ninja's legs, it pulls off such a cool look. Some people online, translated blog info talking about the form's capabilities, and what you said about Keiwa's final form taking cues from Michinaga applies. Bujin's sword is heavily armored and has shock-absorbing systems, allowing Tycoon to tank hits without worry, and also boosts his strength, making him fight a lot like Michinaga. The more we see of it, I love how in total this development and form feel like it makes Keiwa a dark reflection to Ace. His new henshin pose cracking his finger compared to Ace's finger snap, him deceiving Samori and exploiting the guilt she feels for his revenge. Ace tricked people before, but still had good intentions mostly. The black and white colors, the black and green colors, apparently red and green, are contrasting colors as well. This form turns the user into master-level swordsman through multiple features combined, like downloading swordsmanship knowledge into the user's minds, the arms being designed for optimum sword fighting motions, the focus on melee and the sword opposed to Ace's marksmanship. Also, the cape is called Delude Mantle. Oh boy. Some people are theorizing this may be a ploy by Keiwa and or Ace to get him in with management. That would be quite a way to echo how Keiwa fooled Giori and Ace before. Whether that turns out to be the case or not, I'm excited to see what happens next. I love gags like the Shinobi thing. It's just like, oh yeah, this thing is over here and just doing it, you know? And I didn't see all of Geo, so I imagine there's little bits of that in that season, you know, because they did have a lot of, like, I wouldn't say fake writers, but like made up writers for future seasons kind of things. Which I think is kind of neat. It's a neat little idea. It's a great palate cleanser for just everything going on in Geats right now. And I love the inversion with Michinaga and Keiwa. Like, Keiwa is now the fool of anger and grief and fighting, and Michinaga is the person who's like, no, better tomorrow. Like, but he's still Michinaga. So he does it in the fucking dumb way of, like, killing people, which, come on, dude. And Keiwa's final form just throughout the board is amazing. And there's also another aspect to it, because Ace's final form, Geats Boost 9, it's very organic looking. It has a lot of organic curves and everything. And Keiwa's final form, sharp, angular, armor. Like, and he's also put armor over himself to shield his heart, you know? I think there's that aspect too. And yes, red and green are in fact opposites on the color wheel. I took art school. You know? And to kind of like link it all the way back to the idea of like, this is entertainment and there's an undercurrent and like this is a sub-theme of everything. Like, ultimately, the only way that they're going to save everybody is by working together. They need to create a union of teamwork. And then Keiwa can really do what he's always wanted, which was to protect others. As a fucking tank. And I don't think it's going to be a twist. I don't think there's going to be a twist that, like, Keiwa was in the whole time and he knew what was going. Like, no, this man's too far full of grief. This man is too, I wouldn't say too far gone, but he is just not in that place to do things. But I do think there could be a moment where he could be, you know? We're just not there at that moment. Keiwa's not in his right mind to be formulating a plan like that. But thank you so much for watching this episode of Gateway to Geats. Thank you for watching Kamen Rider Geats. Watch Kamen Rider. It's good. It's good for your heart, good for your soul. Please like, comment, subscribe, follow me on social media networks. All of the links are down below. Join my Discord server. We hang out, we talk sometimes, we share news, that kind of thing. It's fun. But till next time, keep on geetsing on.